Yeah. So then tomorrow,
Should we
the
stand
next
for the
day,
Pledge of Allegiance?
we're gonna go over to empty out our house.
I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call meeting to order. Roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
Moeller.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Waltman. Beckman.
Yep.
And we're gonna go over the organizational structure for the parks,
Yeah.
the new and greatest thing.
You bet. Why don't you take this, Nancy?
Okay.
We'll talk through this one. So, we had talked, the council's been talking about, looking at the structure of the parks organization and basically whether we would look to have both campground manager and a buildings and grounds foreman at the level of a department head. So I sent out on Friday with that little packet, I set out 2 proposed job descriptions and an organizational chart. But to recap those, I want to go through this little spreadsheet that was at your seat tonight about what proposed job duties would be. Then just comparing and contrasting the campground versus the buildings and grounds. So looking at the campground, that they would communicate the grounds maintenance needs in the campgrounds and parks to the parks maintenance guys. But on the right side then, buildings and grounds foreman responsible for the mowing and trimming on all the city lands. I wrote except the lagoon, we're going to still plan to have the Public Works Department maintain the lagoon out there. They'll have that Ferris mower that they would have and be able to keep that out there, and they would take care of the lagoon. Just next line down talks about cleaning fire rings, so even though that's in the campground, the responsibility lies with the buildings and grounds crew. Notifies the park maintenance when buildings maintenance is needed. The campground manager would do that, but the buildings and grounds foreman is responsible for the maintenance of the buildings. Plumbing, painting, carpentry, etc. I had wiring there and had Eric review that. He said, we don't do wiring, we have electricians who do wiring, so that was taken off there. Okay, then on the campground manager, so you look at the operations, of course, of Camp Crescent, the concession stand, mini golf, and the beach. All responsibility of campground manager. Some things for the buildings and grounds guy, playground safety inspection and maintenance, splash pad inspection and maintenance. Okay, campground manager supervises Camp Crescent employees, including the attendants and the mini golf workers and concession workers, whereas the buildings and grounds foreman supervises parks maintenance employees. Okay, bathroom responsibilities then, that would still lie with the campground manager about stocking and cleaning bathrooms in Camp Crescent, Town Bay, and Speaker Park. And the manager is responsible for keeping the mini golf course and the beach area clean, with major maintenance on those being performed by the buildings and grounds folks. The manager still being responsible for the Centennial Shelter House, as far as keeping that cleaned after each rental. Okay, we do propose then that the campground manager would still be responsible for plant materials. So plant and maintain the downtown bump outs and the bike arch and the plantings there and the wayfinding signs, etc. But the buildings and grounds guys would end up with maintenance on the rain gardens and bioretention cells. I guess the rationale there is, as far as all of the flowers and whatnot in town, it does take some significant amount of staffing. There's a lot more people involved at the campground who could potentially break loose and be able to get up, down, and attend to some of the flower plantings. Okay, campground manager, of course, has financial responsibilities, daily cash reconciliation for camping, mini golf, and concessions. Buildings and grounds foreman has tree responsibilities, plant and maintain the trees, trim as needed, work with public works then on removal. Campground manager orders concessions and inventories and orders supplies. Of course, the buildings and grounds does the maintenance on equipment, so that's mowers, trimmers, chainsaws, everything like that. And buildings and grounds responsible for for emptying trash cans. So we do have trash cans all around town. That's a Monday morning event for them. Okay, manager communicating with the parks about work needed on picnic tables and fire rings and dumpsters, but the buildings and grounds guys are responsible for the maintenance on them. Picnic tables, fire rings, dumpsters. Last couple there, assist with snow removal as needed, just doesn't happen very often. Remember, in this buildings and grounds foreman now works basically beginning of April to the middle of November, and it's the rare occasion that there's much snow during that time. But then also they do some holiday lighting. And another thing that's just a small thing for the campground manager, but it's another piece of administration that they need to do is the peer-to-peer stones. We keep a detailed database on those, so and could actually tell a person where their stone is on the peer-to-peer area. So the manager would be responsible for that. To your questions or comments about job allocations between those two?
So, start to finish, you said it was April through November?
Our maintenance guys work till November 15th now.
November 15th, okay.
Yeah.
And that's, how many guys is that?
It's Ben, Eric, and Mark.
Okay.
We do have a third person hired now. Craig Kitchen is hired also, and Craig could conceivably work that one.
Okay.
Still looking to hire one more Parks employee who would be the traditional summer employee, you know, likely a student working from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So what's your thoughts on this?
Looks like a good plan.
At least it's defined, take a lot of gray area out.
I think it'll work better than the way it has, just campground managers got a lot on their plate the last
Right.
couple of years, and this will
Mm-hmm.
help alleviate some of that duty.
You know, structurally, it's a change to make these folks department heads in, but in practice, it still just means that they gotta get along and make sure that, you know, they're working with each other about having those duties done. Did you take a look at those job descriptions? Any comments on those job descriptions?
You don't have any concerns, do you, Nancy?
No. The only question I had was, Eric used to do the raking of the beach. Do they still do that?
And they still,
Yeah.
Okay, good.
the
Tiller.
Yeah.
the
with,
equipment stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, oh, good.
Yeah, you don't have to do that.
We still want you guys to be able to work together.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That's not a problem.
no,
This last question then for you deals with just want everybody to recognize wages. That, you know, Ruth makes $20 an hour right now. The proposal for a campground manager would be between $18 and $20 an hour, and Eric is at 16. So just at least want to make sure that everybody's aware of that and see what your thoughts are.
I would, you know, they're gonna be like equal positions, I think we should bump Eric up to the same. I mean, he's got a lot of responsibility there also.
To what's the same, as Ruth or as a new appointee? We haven't established a wage yet for the
Yeah, whatever the,
campground manager.
yeah.
We can do that when we go on a closed session. We have to have a motion to accept these things as written.
Yeah, if we could. Yeah, if we, how about a motion to some of the effect that the Camp Crescent manager and the building and grounds foreman shall be defined as department heads and to approve the job descriptions?
So did you sit down and go over this job performance with whoever we bring on, or?
Yep, you bet.
So with this, Eric is still our buildings and grounds foreman, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And he's willing to do that for this year, cause I thought he was wanting to cut his hours back.
Yeah, and he is, you know, he wants to cut his hours back, but he can still be the lead guy, you know, and he still does the job preparation and the assignment of duties.
We're hoping that third guy takes up some of the
Right,
cushion.
he takes up the slack,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would just like to make sure next year we look for a lead guy that's, you always want your lead person to be around all the time instead of part-time. Does that make sense? How am I explaining that the right way? You don't want your lead person to be somebody that's there a third of the time of your two workers. The lead guy needs to be seeing what's going on. I'm fine with it this year. Eric's there, but Eric wants to cut back, and so next year we hire, or look at hiring a lead parks guy that's gonna be there for the hours. You know, Eric wants to retire. Does that make, am I saying that the right way? You understand what I'm trying to get at?
Sure, yeah.
You know, am I s-
We can't let him retire now.
right. But, and he's not looking to this year, but I think, you know, moving forward with splitting this apart, the lead guy should be the guy that's there all the time.
And I don't think he'll leave unless he's got everybody ordered to do, you do this, you do that.
I agree.
He'll be fine.
Right.
I'm fine with that, yeah, I'm totally fine with that, but, you know, next year he might wanna cut back a little bit more and more and more. Well, at some point in time, we gotta make that jump and let Eric help the new guy.
And Eric's been cutting back, he says, the last couple of years, but we still catch him out there all the time.
Correct,
You
yeah,
just can't
Yeah.
let it go.
yep.
He's got too much pride in him to do it.
Don't have that word known as vocabulary.
No, no. He likes to look good and takes care of all the equipment he's.
Absolutely.
Do I have a motion to approve these changes?
So,
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Boltman,
Yes.
Stankin,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Boltman,
Yes.
Moller,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Beckman,
Yep.
Stankin.
Yes.